Welcome to Mana's Seal YouTube channel. The previous video link is on the description box or on the top right card. Volume 15, The Half-Elf Godkin. What would a person do when faced with a challenge? There were many methods suitable for overcoming one, and this time Ainz chose to use the advantage of numbers and location. With Aura and Mare flanking him, Ainz sat down on the throne in the audience, hall prepared by the Guardians, finally holding the original staff of Ainzul, Gown after a long time. The ultimate form of the absolute ruler of Nazark and the guild leader Ainz, Gown, so to speak. Still, his victory against the opponent that would be appearing soon was not a certain thing. The opponent was the true last boss. A boss more fearsome than something like the Devourer of the Nine Worlds, Ainz thought as he gulped with his non-existent throat. He had already gone through the simulations multiple times, but Ainz was just an ordinary person. He likely doesn't even reach the foot of the mountain that was his opponent's intellect. So, there's nothing else to do, except leaving it all to luck. He was placing his hopes on his ad-lib skills. He was sure his future self would pull through. Lumiere, who had been waiting before the entrance, announced the opponent's arrival. Very well. Let them enter. Understood, Ainz-sama. Everyone should have understood who the opponent was by now. It was none other than the last boss, aka Guardian Overseer, Albedo. The moment she noticed Ainz, Albedo switched from her usual smiling face to a serious expression. Please forgive me for making you wait. Seeing Albedo bowing deeply near the entrance, Ainz ordered her to lift her head up. Don't worry about it, Albedo. I was already informed that you would be late. So you can even say that you are on time. When contacted through message beforehand, Albedo informed him that, because she was doing something in the frozen prison, her appearance might not be suitable for an audience. So, she requested some time to make herself presentable. With no reason to refuse her request, Ainz designated this time, 30 minutes, more than what Albedo requested, to meet him here. The fact that Albedo still arrived 10 minutes before the designated time was likely due to her personality. Or maybe it was just an ironclad rule for working adults to always arrive before time. Albedo lifted her head, walked before the throne, and kneeled. Ainz informed her immediately. Albedo. I am taking a paid vacation starting right this moment. He could make any number of excuses, but every time he did that, the conversation tended to go in weird directions. So he felt it was better to directly state his goal here. Demiurge was absent this time, so it is unlikely to lead to some strange development. Albedo scrunched up her brows slightly while lifting her head up to look at Ainz. She then cast her gaze to the left and right of him, probably checking Aura and Mare's reactions to those words. Ainz continued to observe Albedo, worried about her reaction. She replied, with a serious expression. Including Nazark, everything in the Sorcerer Kingdom belongs to Ainz-sama. What? He couldn't understand what she was saying at all. No, not one bit. How could one arrive at such a response? What leaps of logic, what train of thought would lead one to such a conclusion? How should Ainz respond? He could immediately think of two replies. What the hell are you saying? Was one, the other was yes, just as you have surmised. Of course, he would apply a coat of varnish over those words to make them sound regal. Ainz started churning his imaginary brain matter at full power, but there wasn't enough time. Albedo had already thrown the ball into his court. He needed to send it back as soon as possible. It seems like you are misunderstanding something, Albedo. That's not what I am trying to say. He decided to be honest. Would it have been better if he put on an act like he usually did? Yeah, probably. Anyhow, he managed to protect the image of Ainzul Gown, the absolute ruler of Nazark, for now. By sacrificing Suzuki Satori's heart. Albedo made an expression like she realized something. Please forgive me for my mistake, Ainz-sama. She bowed again in panic. No, it's not like I am angry. You don't need to bow. Only scum would enjoy having someone bow their heads for no fault of their own. It seems like the term paid vacation caused a misunderstanding. Nazark did not have salaries or day-offs. It stood at the pinnacle of black companies. Therefore, it was highly likely that she thought the term paid vacation was a metaphor for something else. You could say this was Ainz's fault, because he had yet to implement such a system in Nazark. Of course, Ainz would want to vindicate himself by pointing at the NPC's obstinance and demand for more work. The following was just Suzuki Satori's personal experience, but however bad a company might get, employees could usually tolerate a lot, as long as their interpersonal relationships were good. On the other hand, if these relationships were bad, it wouldn't matter how well the company might treat their employees. They tended to break down quickly. Perhaps Nazark was running smoothly because the interpersonal relationships between its denizens were great. It was a mistake on my part. Forgive me. Ainz lowered his head as well. Ainz-sama, please raise your head. Ainz lifted his head at Albedo's flustered words. Anyhow, as we have both bowed, can I be considered forgiven? There's no need for Ainz-sama to. If there comes a day when I can't bow to you people, then that day will be the end of me. That person will no longer be me. Albedo gasped with her eyes wide open and then bowed deeply. The disturbance by Ainz's side was likely caused by the twin surprise at Albedo's reaction. Before Ainz could ask her what the matter was, Albedo lifted her head. Ainz-sama said that it's a paid vacation, but is there a plan to head somewhere, with the two of them in tow? As expected of Albedo. To have noticed that Ainz was planning to travel just from the phrase paid vacation, Albedo was quite fearsome. If it was Ainz in her shoes, he would have probably said something like, as the two of them are here, are you planning to spend some leisure time on the 6th floor? I am planning to head to the Elven country in the south with these two. So it's the Elven country. Albedo pondered for a while before speaking. Again, I see. What do you see? Maybe she was thinking that Ainz was heading over there for diplomacy. He had to make sure. Don't be hasty. I am not going there for diplomatic reasons. I just want to observe their state of affairs. Understood. A simple reply. Ainz thought she was going to say more. This was way scarier. He had the feeling that a critical misunderstanding was taking root. So I will be going on a journey to the Elven country with these two. If there's something urgent, contact me with message. I will be back immediately, that's all there is, alright. I don't plan on doing anything else, okay? I really don't. Understood. Understood. So will you be setting out soon? Yes, that's right. He hadn't thought that far ahead, but considering the theocracy's advances, it would be better for them if they started early. I intend to, but Aura and Mare have to prepare right. I think those two will have no issues. If Ainz-sama decided to set out this instant, then it would be natural for them to complete their preparations immediately. Ainz wanted to reproach her for saying such things, but the twins also concurred with her. If those two were saying that it's not a problem, then it was not Ainz's place to object. I want to be certain about something. Not just Albedo, but Aura and Mare, as well. I have a question for all of you. The great underground tomb of Nazarick established the Sorcerer Kingdom, made the Empire's vassal, extended its control over the demihumans of the Wildlands, and had just recently destroyed the Riesti's kingdom. You could say the size of the organization grew following the expansion of its territory. Well then, I have some apprehensions. Our organization has expanded, but do we have a corresponding expansion in personnel? An organization wasn't something that would stop working just because a person or two were taking a rest. Aura and Mare were certainly part of the top brass. If we were to consider Nazarick as a company, they would be its executives. Normal employees could let their peers substitute for them, but executives did not have that luxury. As such, it would be bad if the organization ground to a halt just because the two of them took a rest. In that case, the plan had to be put on hold and perhaps altered. I am worried about that. We might need to take some drastic measures if that's the case. I don't think there will be any problems. And, if it came down to it, there's always me and Demiurge. If we also have Pandora's actors' cooperation, there will be no issues at all. I see. As expected of Albedo. So there's already a solution in place for my misgivings. Splendid work, worthy of being one of the most intelligent beings in the Nazarick, and the holder of the title of Guardian Overseer. Absolutely brilliant. I am highly impressed. He praised Albedo with all his heart. Unlike Ainz, she was diligently managing the organization. If she did not deserve such praise, then no one did. I am sincerely grateful for your kind words. Albedo regained her posture after a deep bow, but her expression was a little stiff. Another question popped into Ainz's head as this happened. It's Aura and Mare this time, but would everything work without issues if you and Demiurge were the ones to take a vacation? Albedo faltered for a bit but immediately answered. I believe that even if we were to be absent, the others would be able to substitute for us without issues. They would do their best to meet Ainz-sama's expectations. Albedo. It's not about what you believe. What I want to know is whether or not they could handle it without a problem. Of course, it is hard for you to express doubt about the abilities of the floor guardians, your comrades. And I do understand that it's painful for you. But, can you tell me if they can do it without your emotions getting in the way? If the answer is that they cannot, then we will have to train them and restructure the organization when we have the leeway to do it. Well, if even someone like me could foresee this, Albedo has probably already looked into it. Excuse me, Ainz-sama, sorry for interrupting, but what's the matter, Mare? Sorry, but I am not confident about being able to do the amazing work that Albedo-san does. After a short silence, Albedo's prickly voice echoed in the hall. Is that all you have to say? What is this? He didn't feel like any of Mare's words just now warrants Albedo's anger. In fact, Ainz was in complete agreement with him. Mare flinched as Albedo shouted. She was seriously angry. Before Ainz could stop her, Albedo continued. Did I hear a floor guardian, an elite among elites, say that he can't do the work that's expected of him by Supreme Being? Albedo, don't be so loud. What's the problem with someone saying that they cannot do something when that's the truth? In fact, it would be more of a problem if they say that they can, even when they cannot. Forgive me for my insolence, but let me continue. Despite Ainz's reprimand, Albedo continued in an even louder voice. But, as it seemed like she was no longer directing her anger at Mare, Ainz let her continue.